we've been in the sun since 5 a.m. I'm just as confused as you. I'm just here. I'm just here. That's a wrap for today. I'm out.
Oh yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man Vay KJ, and yes, I'm back with another video. This is for Bel Air episode 8 recap and review. And yeah, fam, this one was pretty heavy. Aunt Viv and Vi are going at it. Will and Lisa still getting it in. Oh yeah, and Jeffrey and Uncle Phil, yeah, they almost come to blows. Yeah, so we're gonna recap this. Definitely, if you're new and loving Bel Air, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Absolutely. Check out all the recaps so you can get all caught up. Let's get it in. So let's start off with Will and Aunt Viv. They're waiting for Vi to come, and he's thanking Aunt Viv for, you know, flying his mama out for his birthday. And of course, she's like, yeah, of course. It's not a problem. You know, it is what it is. But we know that there's a little tension between them. So here comes Vi. She's happy to be there. She's excited. You know, she sees her baby boy. And yes, he is excited to see his mama. Boy, I tell you, that boy is excited. And it's only been a couple of months, but still, you know, you're away from your mama for that long. Feels like years go by, right? So she's excited. She's letting him know, I would not miss your birthday for anything in the world. I'm going to be there for you. She's looking at her baby boy, and yeah, you could tell she really missed Will, really missed him, right? So, of course, Aunt Viv's like, hey, what's going on, Vi? I'm here too. She's like, hey, what's going on, right? I mean, you know, and then they try to hug, but it's like the most weirdest hug. They don't know how to hug each other. Man, they got a lot of unresolved issues that, yeah, we're going to see play out in this episode. But yeah, Vi is happy to see Will. And yes, he's telling her about this and that. And she's like, oh, you all fancy and everything. And, you know, she's just happy to be there. It looks like she hasn't been there in a very long time. Now we see Hillary, and she's in the house getting herself prepared for her next video. And yeah, here comes Kylo. He's coming in. He's like, oh, you getting ready to get it popping, you know, with your video? Yeah, you know, and she's like, yeah, I'm taking a different approach. He's like, well, yeah, I don't know about that because, yeah, you get lower views with your regular recipes, but when you put on your lingerie and all of that, then you get higher views. And he's like, yeah, she's like, yeah, well, you know, I have to do things, and my parents tell me I have to do things a little different. So he's like, yeah, what do you need, like a permission slip or something like that? So she's like, you know what, Kylo, you know I do have knives over here, right? So he's like, hey, my bad. I just don't want, you know, you to lose everything that you worked hard for. Like, you worked hard, you got these endorsements, you got all this and that, but you know he gets a cut of that as well. So of course he doesn't want her to lose that. But she's thinking about how she's going to do this because she doesn't want to put lingerie on all the time and go in that approach. So Phil sinks it in the hole. He wins that particular hole, and the assemblyman is like, you know, you're supposed to let the, you know, the lead assemblyman win, right? And Phil is like, nah, bruh. Nah, bruh, I'm a winner. I just know how to win, right? So, you know, the assemblyman is like, hey, let's go talk. Let's let the caddy stretch out their legs. Let's go chat. So Uncle Phil, of course, is like, hey, so I'm really looking for your endorsement. I need your support so we can win. And the Assemblyman Hernandez is just like, yeah, well, I don't know. There's a lot going on. Both of you guys are Democrats. You're going to split the vote and everything. And at the same time, you need to get your house in order. Like, seriously, you know, I'm seeing these videos online, and then I'm hearing about these parties that the police got to show up to. And Uncle Phil is like, listen, we straightened all that out. All of that is being taken care of. I just need your endorsement. But he's like, listen, you need to get everybody in line first. So Vi comes in the door, and she's like, oh, wow. It seems like she's never been there before, and she's very, very impressed by this big house. So Will is like, listen, Ma, I'm going to take all your stuff upstairs. I'm really glad that you're here. So she looks on the wall, and she sees one of Aunt Viv's paintings. And she's like, oh, that's Diane right there. So she knows exactly who Aunt Viv painted and everything. And yeah, Aunt Viv is acknowledging who that is. And yeah, you know, Vi's just like, yeah, her daughter's in school right now, da-da-da-da. Right, so Will goes upstairs and he gets a message. Who does he get a message from? Of course, his new shorty, Lisa, right? She's like, I'm in the pool house with the kissing emojis and the whole nine, right? So he smiles and runs upstairs. So Aunt Viv, she's like, yeah, I'm glad that you're here. And yeah, Vi's like, I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for taking care of Will and everything. But I'm really considering telling Will about his daddy, right? And it's like, oh, shoot. So now Aunt Viv is like, are you sure you thought long and hard about this? You know, how this is going to affect Will? Yeah, it's definitely going to affect him. So Will goes to the pool house and yeah, Lisa pulls him in and they get it popping, right? They start the kissing and we could tell like, yeah, obviously the last encounter went pretty well. And yeah, they definitely are getting serious and this energy is really intense between these two. And yeah, they about to get it popping. But, you know, your boy Will is like, hey, maybe we should stop because, yeah, my mom is in the house now, right? And she's just like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're right, right? I mean, yeah, they was about to get it on. But he's like, yeah, I want you to meet my mom, too. And she's like, well, I don't know about her meeting some random girl. And Will is like, nah, flag on the play. You are not some random girl. You basically my girl. So we going to get this thing cracking. You're going to meet my mom. It's going to be all good, you know? So he reassures her that it's going to be all good. And yeah, they continue to keep kissing. I mean, it seems like they are very serious. And that's exactly where it's going. So Uncle Phil is talking to Carlton after, you know, they was playing. It's like, hey, so is the assemblyman going to endorse you? And, you know, Uncle Phil's like, nah, because, you know, there's a lot going on with the house. And yeah, you know, we got to get things in order. So he's also saying how they're both Democrats and that they're going to split the vote. So they need to work some things out. So Carlton's like, how can I help? And he's like, well, you can stop having random parties at the house and having police show up. And he's like, really? You going to put that on me? He's like, well, I mean, you guys know what you're doing. She's like, what about Will? He's like, well, Will doesn't really know. So Carlton's just like, so I have to be perfect. I get the blame. I can make mistakes, but Will can't make mistakes and get blamed for it. So he walks away, and I can understand how he feels. He feels like, you know, they're favoring Will. So sees Hillary, and she's happy to see Hillary. Everybody's happy. You know, you see Ashley there. You know, she barely says anything, just like the old show. All right. And yeah, they're happy to see each other. And they're talking about how she sees what Hillary's doing online. And she says, yeah, I see you all the time. And we find out that, yeah, Hillary basically blocked Aunt Viv because Aunt Viv was sneak dissing Hillary on the low in the comments. So she was like, yo, I was just pretty much sharing my thoughts about your video and all this and that, right? So now they go in and see, and Vi says, yeah, listen, I love your stuff, but that one video, and, you know, Viv is just like, yeah, I'm going to take that down. You know, she's going to take that down. And then she's like, yeah, that boy Kylo was kind of, you know, cute. And Will's like, what? Let me find out you in the DMs. You know what I'm saying? Nah, ma, nah. Right? So Carlton comes in and she's like, oh, you so handsome. And Carlton's like, yeah, I appreciate your honesty and all this and that. Right? So, yeah, Vi's like, yeah, Will tells me that you're top of your class and all this and that. So Carlton's kind of surprised. He's like, oh, for real? Like, that's what he said? Like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm in second place, but I'm trying to get in first place and everything else like that. So she's like, yeah, you're smart. You're definitely going to do it. Right? So we see Uncle Phil hug Vi, right? Now, again, a lot of fan theories are saying that they got it on, but I don't think so. You know, we see that Viv is kind of like, okay, it's all good. It's all good. But something happened. Like, something happened. We're going to find out that Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv did something to Will's father, right? We're going to find that out slowly but surely. And then they were talking about how, you know, food is good and how Hillary cooks and everything else like that, and how Hillary's recipe came from, you know, grandma, right? Came from grandma, came from Aunt Viv and everything else like that. And she's like, yeah, we used to have all these great dinners. And Ashley's like, what happened? And, you know, Vi's like, yeah, grandma got sick and I had to take care of her, right? And Vi seems to be a lot, like, really resentful for being, like, just the only one taking care of her. So Viv is like, yeah, we sent money. And Vi's like, well, sending money is different than, you know, changing bedpans and stuff like that. So Will is like, listen, you guys going back and forth like this. I remember you guys arguing it's my birthday and we're not going to do that on my birthday. Basically, it's like, you know, don't bring that energy here. I'm trying to have a good time. So Will is just like feeling that ill vibe, really feeling the tension. So does Uncle Phil. He's seeing what's going on too. There's a lot of tension between these two. And yeah, it's Will's birthday. Like, come on, y'all got to stop this, right? You got to stop acting like this on Will's birthday. All right. So now we see Hillary. She's talking to Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv about this video. And she's like, yo, I'm really considering keeping the video up, trying to figure this thing out for myself. And Uncle Phil is definitely on some like, yeah, but, you know, you said you was going to take it down. Now you're not going to take it down. Why? And he's like, are you considering the family and how it's going to affect us, like all of us, not just you? And she's like, yeah, well, you know, I am thinking about everything, but I'm just trying to figure it out. And yeah, she's just basically saying that she's not going to take down the video and she's going to basically do what she wants to do, you know, and she's trying to have them understand that, yeah, she has a lot of endorsements coming and it is what it is. So Aunt Viv basically confirms, yeah. So you saying you're not going to take it down? She's like, yeah, I'm not going to take it down. You know, I'm trying to figure it out. And we see Hillary, boy, I mean, she's really trying to get this thing going. But again, it's really going to create a lot of tension between the family. And yeah, she's looking at her dad, and her dad, you know, Uncle Phil is very disappointed because he expected more of her. But of course, he's not going to press her. He's going to be like, okay, well, it is what it is. This is your decision. And she's like, can you really try to understand what I'm doing? And he's like, nah, I really can't understand what you're doing because, you know, this is not the way that we brought you up. This is not the image that we're trying to put out there as a family. So he walks out the door. He's like, another thing that he got to figure out. You know, your boy, Uncle Phil, he's pressed this episode. So, yeah, Aunt Viv is talking to Hillary on some like, listen, I've learned to really not insert my opinion and kind of listen more. But really, you got to ask yourself, is this the image that you want to project to the world? Is this who you really are? Is this what you really represent? And that's something for Hillary to really think about. You know, is that what she wants the world to look at her as? You know, just some lingerie chef. So we see Aunt Viv, and she's in her creative space doing her paintings, right? Her pieces. And yeah, Uncle Phil comes in there. He's like, yeah, so I see you doing your thing. Do you plan on staying here every night? You know, like, obviously, from what we gather, she's been sleeping in the studio. She's like, yeah, well, you know, I'm under pressure. I got this deadline. You know, I'm trying to fulfill it. So he's like, yeah, so I see you're trying to paint for Reed, right? And she's like, no, I'm trying to paint for this, you know, opportunity that's going to be coming my way. So I have to meet the deadlines and do all this and that, right? So, of course, he's not feeling that. She's not coming to bed. You know, he needs his wife next to him. And she basically tells him, yeah, Vi's thinking about telling Will about his dad. And Uncle Phil's like, heck nah, that's not a good idea. That's not going to be good for us. So it's obvious that they did something to Will's dad, Lou, and they don't want Will to find out right now. Like, you know, once he gets older, you know, Uncle Phil's like, once he gets older, we'll tell him and let him know. But not now, not on the 17th birthday. So we see Vi, she's in the kitchen getting busy, and she's looking at Will, and she's like, yeah, you're looking more and more like, and he's like what? Like what? And we already know he's looking more and more like his dad, right? So if he's looking like his dad, is there a chance that, yeah, the real Will Smith will show up as Lou, playing Lou? We'll see. But yeah, Vi's in the kitchen, and she's cooking up a whole big thing, right? And so Carlton comes in, he tries the biscuits. He's like, oh, man, Mom don't cook like this. And, of course, she's taking her shine. It's like, yeah, well, your mother was, you know, painting and all of that. I was getting busy in the kitchen and cooking and everything else like that. So she starts saying how your mother, Viv, used to jump on stage and jumped on stage with D'Angelo. She was in them streets, right? So Viv comes in like, nah, he didn't do that. Nah, he invited me up on stage, and his eyes invited me up on stage, right? So they going back and forth about how Aunt Viv was out there. You know, she was partying hard. She was doing her thing. She was making it happen, right? So yeah, she's talking about how they was doing their thing. And yeah, Will is like, listen, it'd be great for us to go to the beach and everything for my birthday. And Aunt Viv was like, yeah, I could join y'all for lunch if if that's okay with you. She's like, it's all right. So, they're going to have lunch together. So now Uncle Phil and 007 Jeffrey are there talking. He's like, yeah, I'm going to need you to do me a favor. Yeah, I'm going to need you to set up a meeting with Wilk so we can have a meeting about, this whole campaign. At the same time, I'm going to need you to make sure that Lou doesn't get next to Will because, we just don't want that to disrupt Will's life right now. And, Jeffrey looks like he's really thinking about it, but he has a problem with it. And we're going to find out later why he has a problem with that. But yeah, Uncle Phil is like, yeah, I need you to take care of that for me. So, of course, Jeffrey's like, yeah, he will. So now we see Vi and Will. They are out. They are having fun. They're all in California. They went to Hollywood, right? They went to a whole different places. They went to, the Stars Walk of Fame and everything. And they're taking pictures of each other, selfies and all of that. And yeah, they're having fun. They're out there doing their thing, taking crazy selfies. And they are at the Santa Monica Pier out in California. Absolutely. I love that place. It's beautiful, beautiful, right? So Will and Vi are talking. She's like, yeah, I see how nice it is out here. And I can understand why you love it. He's like, yeah, at first, I needed to get used to it. But I'm starting to really love being out here. And she's like, yeah, I'm proud of you. And then he talks about how, yeah, man, if it wasn't for Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, I wouldn't be here. And she's like, you going to give them all the credit? Like, are you serious? I raised you myself. And he's like, nah, Ma, I see you. I appreciate you. If you didn't send me out here, then I wouldn't be here, So she basically is just, been doing it on her own. And he says that he really loves her and he appreciates her. And, she feels like she's unappreciated. I can see that. There's a lot of pain, behind her eyes that she's been doing it on her own, holding it down for Will for many, many years. And she doesn't want Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil to take all the credit for it. So they're trying to have a good time. And yeah, we're going to see more. So we see Hillary. And Hillary is basically setting up with her lingerie. And she's setting up for her little thirsty chef thing, right? She got her Victoria's Secrets on. She's about to start recording and everything and about to get it popping, get it going. And she's looking at her camera. At the same time, she's really thinking long and hard about that conversation that she had with Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv about, whether or not this is what she really wants to represent. So she covers herself up and yeah, she really doesn't want to do it. She turns off the light and she's really on a level to say, you know what? Yeah, you have more dignity than that, Hillary. You can do this. So we see Fred Wilkes show up and him and Uncle Phil are meeting, right? So they're talking about this campaign. Uncle Phil is like, listen, the assemblyman, he won't endorse any of us, either one of us, because we're both Democrats. And if we run against each other, we're basically going to split the vote and the Republicans are going to win, right? So he's like, listen, how about we have a debate? Whoever wins the debate backs out and basically backs the person that won. So he agrees. So now we see Hillary and she goes to Kylo and she says, you know what? I found many different approaches and I think I'm going to try that. And Kylo's like, yeah, I figured you were going to say something like that. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you have a track record of starting something. And when you don't like it, then you start changing stuff up. You dropped out of college. You tried a different personality online. That didn't work for you. And she's like, well, it is what it is. Like, I'm trying to find myself. He's like, yeah, well, that's not going to work. Basically, you have all these views going. And yeah, you need to stick with it. You need to stick with what's going on. And she's just like, yeah, well, forget all of that. I'm going to do what I want to do. Like, you're not going to control me. And he's like, I want to be out. She's like, I'm done with this. Like, forget you. I quit. He's like, well, if you do, there's a stop fee and everything that you're going to have to pay. Right? You didn't know that? He's like, oh, you didn't read your contract, right? He's like, basically, I own everything that you put up in the cloud, but you didn't read your contract. You're going to have to pay me to get out of this deal. So she's like, ah, dang, right? Dang, Hillary. So now we see Aunt Viv, Vi, and Will, they're having lunch. And yeah, they're having a good time. They're talking about how Will's talking about how he's been there before with Aunt Viv and how they saw Rihanna. And, you know, Aunt Viv is like, yeah, we try to take the kids out to, you know, expand their palate, right? And Will is just like on some like, yeah, it's all good. And then they start talking about something. And, you know, Vi's like, yeah, don't go there. And Will's like, what you mean don't go there? Well, go there about what? And then the waitress comes over just in time to be like, okay, I'm ready to take your order. And, you know, again, that tension is going on between Vi and Viv, man. I mean, these sisters, they got it out for each other. So Will is like, yeah, I'm going to take the order of this and that without a side of, you know, shade or any energy that's going on for my birthday, right? He doesn't feel what's going on. So now we see Uncle Phil and Jeffrey, you know, they're sparring, getting it in. And Jeffrey basically tells Uncle Phil, listen, man, I'm not feeling how you want to keep Lou away from Will. That's not how I get down. And, you know, Uncle Phil is like, yo, what are you talking about, man? And basically we hear about Jeffrey and his dilemma. He has a situation where Jeffrey has his son, and it's obvious that the mother is keeping him away from his own son. And Uncle Phil's like, yo, you basically going to do this. You're going to do it because you get paid. You know, I'm paying you. And, you know, Jeffrey's like, all right, I mean, it is what it is. Right, but he's not feeling that at all. Not feeling it. So now we see Vi and Will. And Will's like, listen, I want to know about my father. I'm tired of, you know, being stonewalled. I want to know everything about him, his personality. And, you know, I'm 17 now. And yeah, I want to know the truth about my dad. And she says his name is Lou. And she says how, you know, he was a dreamer and he owed a lot of people debt all around town. And basically, Vi paid all of his debt. And Will's like, why'd you do that? She's like, because I was young. And, you know, once you came into the world, you know, I changed. I don't do that anymore. And Will's like, yeah, because I can't see you taking anything from any man. She's like, yeah, I changed once you came in the world and was all about you. Once it became all about you, then he basically left. And that's all that we kind of know right now as far as what happened. And that's what she's telling Will. Just that little bit of information, but it's really not enough for Will. I know it's not. He wants to know more. And, you know, he appreciates what she told him, but still, it's not enough. It's really not enough. So now we shoot to the party. Happy birthday, Will. They got the cake out. He's 17 now. Everybody's happy. We see what's going on. Guess who shows up? Your boy Jazz shows up. And, you know, Hillary's talking to him like, what's going on? I see you. And basically she apologizes to Jazz, right? Because he's on some like, yeah, I told you. And she's like, yeah, you know, I quit the house, but I owe like $50,000 to Kylo. That's in the contract. And your boy Jazz is like, what? 50 G's? You sure you're going to handle that? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to figure it out. It's all good. And yeah, I mean, 50K just to get out of that deal. Yeah, that's pretty hefty. So Jazz is on some like, well, you know, it's all good. I know you're going to figure it out because you fine and all of that. And da, 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 da. So Jazz, you know, manages to make her smile about the whole situation, you know. And yeah, she's going to have to work it out one way or another. So we see Vi and Carlton, they're talking. And she's like, yeah, what did you get him? He's like, yeah, I got him some like ankle weights because he wants to, you know, increase his ups and playing ball. I don't really understand it. And yeah, he's talking about how, yeah, Will always said he wanted a brother. And Carlton said he wanted the same. And Vi's like, yeah, and the universe brought you both together. So now you have like a brother, even though that's your cousin, that's like your brother now. So he's like, I'm thinking about that. So here comes Will walking in with his shorty Lisa, holding hands, right? On top of that. And he introduces her to Vi, and she is very happy to see her, says how pretty she is, and yeah, how you got to keep him in line because sometimes he gets these crazy ideas. And Will's like, yo, come on, it's my birthday. Really? We doing this right now, Ma? You know how moms do. You know, they be embarrassing us sometimes, whatever. So Aunt Viv says Uncle Phil's going to be a little late. He's dealing with some campaign stuff. So it's all good. You know, they're still like, all right, well, let's make this happen. And Will wants to open up his gifts. So Vi's like, hey, open the one that I got you. Open that one first, right? So she brings him over. Opens it up. She says she's gonna love it and everything else like that, right? She's definitely having a good moment with her son. And yeah, it's a picture of her and Will back in the day. And he's like, oh, this is so special. Like, I've never seen this picture before and everything else like that. And of course, Will has questions. He's like, well, you know, Aunt Viv, did you take this? And she's like, nah. So he's like, yeah, who took this picture? Aunt Viv definitely causes interference. And she's like, hey, how about we open up my gift next? We open up my gift, right? So he opens up the gift. He sees a Jordan box, Jordans, right? And he's like, I know what this is. And it's a special limited edition of some Michael Jordan joints, right? And he's like, yo, how did you get this? Like, it has his name on it, signed by Jordan himself. He's like, oh my God, I love this. He's like, whoa, you know, he's definitely really happy about this gift, right? So of course, you know, everybody comes over and he's like, wow, you know, the GOAT signed it himself. And yeah, da-da-da-da. So now we see Vi, and she's like, you always got to steal the shine from me, right? You always got to steal this moment. And Viv is like, yo, I didn't know how expensive it was. And this is not about you and me. Let's not make it about you and me. And Vi's just on some like, yeah, you always trying to take the shine, trying to take the credit. And I'm just trying to have this moment. And yeah, you know, Aunt Viv is about to go off. You see that look? She cutting her eyes at her. And she's like, I don't know why you always making me the enemy and why you always making it about me and you. And yeah, they start going in. And she's like, yeah, you know, I'm not mad at you're successful. It's just you don't really give credit where credit is due. Like, you basically was floating and we were supporting you on everything and you're not giving props where props are due. Like, basically she's saying that Aunt Viv was riding on the support of her and that Vi was paying for her bills before she even met Phil and everything. And she never got the recognition for helping her little sister out. And she's always outshining her. So yeah, it's a very awkward feeling that everybody is feeling. Of course, Will is feeling down because he's not feeling any of that that's going on between his aunt and his mom. I mean, they was going in. So Viv goes to her studio. You know, that's where she goes when she's upset about stuff or whatever. Carlton comes in, right? And Carlton's like, Mom, you know, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, she's always doing this and always thinking I'm taking the shine from her. And your boy Carlton hits it like, yo, do you understand? Do you ever ask yourself why she's acting like this? Why does she feel like this? And yeah, she starts to think about how, yeah, Vi has been taking care of her, taking care of Mom, taking care of Will all by herself. So she comes to the realization that, yeah, Vi has been doing everything by herself with no support, you know, taking care of Mom when she was sick, taking care of everybody. And Carlton basically is coming with some wisdom. And she's like, yeah, she realizes how much Vi has been doing to support her and everything. And she's talking to Carlton like, yo, how did you come up with this wisdom? And Carlton's like, yeah, well, all the times you kind of forced me and Will to kind of like get along, I kind of learned a little something along the way. So she was like, boy, I love you. I love you. You're right. I'm going to go talk to her. I'm going to go straighten this thing out, right? Will's talking to Vi. And he's like, yeah, Mom, I understand how you feel, but you guys need to talk. So Viv apologizes to Vi because she realizes that she's been doing everything on her own, all by herself, raising Will. And yeah, she definitely gives her props and gives her credit for supporting her. And yeah, you know, Vi's like, yeah, well, I appreciate that. And I'm not going to tell Will about his father, anything more about his father. So they hug and they make up and it's all good. Doggone it. Man, we've been waiting this whole episode for y'all to make up. Like, come on, do it for Will. Do it for the family. Right. So Carlton, with all that being said, Carlton has a talk with Will. And he basically tells Will, listen, ever since you came, my life has been upside down. And yeah, it's been very uncomfortable. You know, you basically kind of rock my world. Now you're popular. Now all the ladies love you. And it's kind of hard for me being that the family kind of favors you. He's like, listen, I'm sorry, you know, that you're going through all of that. But still, I need to know that you are not hating on me and Lisa. He's like, basically, you a hater. He's like, nah, I'm just playing. Carlton's about to walk away. He's like, nah, I'm just playing. He's like, listen, man, I just need to know. I don't need to look behind my shoulder, you know, look over my shoulder, look behind my back and see that you're going to backstab me because I'm with Lisa. So Carlton, he definitely takes a mature approach and he says, you know what, man, listen, even though it hurts, I'm still going to be cool with you and everything because me and Lisa broke up a long time ago. And yeah, it's all good. Like, y'all go ahead and date. I'm basically going to get over it. So they shake hands and agree upon this. And they give each other a pound. You know, he's thinking about how, yeah, that's like his brother. But I don't think this is over. I don't think Carlton is truly going to get over this that easy. There may be more tension here and there. But yeah, they agree. That's going to be all good. Will doesn't have to watch his back. And yeah, Will can date Lisa with no problems. So Will sees Jeffrey about to go into Uncle Phil's office, right? So Will goes into the office to talk to Jeffrey, right? Jeffrey looks like he's about to leave his resignation letter because he doesn't like how Uncle Phil is getting down and doesn't like how he's trying to keep Lou away from Will. So he puts the letter back as Will's coming in the door. And Will's like, yo, gee, listen, man, I need you to do something for me. I need you to find out, you know, about my father, Lou. And he's like, yeah, that's a pretty tall order. He's like, yo, I know you can do it, man. Can you find out a little something about my dad? And Jeffrey is just kind of shocked because he didn't want to touch it. You know, Uncle Phil wanted to keep Lou away from Will, but you know how Jeffrey feels. You know, it seems like Jeffrey had a son and yeah, he's being kept away from his son. So he feels it's only right. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to find out more about your father and get you that information. So Will is happy about that. And yeah, he gives him a pound because he knows that Jeffrey can definitely get information. And he knows that Jeffrey's real resourceful. So Jeffrey's like, yo, don't thank me yet. You know, thank me when I'm done with the job. And Will's like, yo, I know you can get it done, man. Man, you 007, man. You got this, bro. You got this. So Will has full confidence in Jeffrey. But Jeffrey, at the same time, is not going to fulfill what Uncle Phil asked him to do. So now, he told Will he's going to find out about Lou and give him that information. Will he do it? We shall see in the next episode of Bel-Air. Man, this one, family, definitely heavy, but we got through it, right? But we got through it. I mean, listen, Vi, Viv finally getting back together and being cool. We'll see how cool Carlton really is based on what he said to Will. And yeah, is Jeffrey going to find out more about Lou and give that information to Will? We shall see in that next episode, family. Let me know your thoughts, your theories. Absolutely, if you're new, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And absolutely, I appreciate you all for watching. And you know what it is. It's your man, Fade KJ. Until next time, salute.